Welcome back to North Dakota Today. Wine and cheese make the perfect pair for any dish.
And so that's what we're doing today. Lush Lola's owner Shannon Malzahn's here to show us how to make not only a cheese fondue, but a cheese and wine fondue.
Best
My
of
favorite
both
things.
worlds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the wine is actually really good for the cheese because it keeps it from separating and because it has a tartness to it. So not only does it taste delicious, there actually is, you know, a chemical reason for it. So.
Okay, so it's not just because we like to drink
It isn't
wine.
just because that. But I thought it was perfect for, you know, New Year's Eve coming up. When our kids were little, we would have fondue nights on New Year's Eve instead of going out. And this one's probably not as kid-friendly, but I think it's kind of festive and fun if you're looking to do something else rather than go out to the restaurant.
Exactly.
If you're having an adult party, then you can make this wine fondue.
Although you could do some other ones for the kids, I suppose.
So how do we start it off? What should we do first?
Super simple actually. It's just a cup of white wine. You want to make sure that it is a dry white wine. In this case, we use Chardonnay. Just make sure it's not one of your sweet wines. You don't want Moscato or something like that. And these, just a little quick tip, if you're not a wine drinker, these little bottles are about a cup. And so they work out perfect for making recipes. You could also use a white cooking wine from the store if you're not a wine drinker. What I always tell people is, you know, if you're going to drink it, buy what you would normally drink and use that. But don't feel like you need to bump up the quality to cook with it. Don't feel like you need to go out and, you know, buy a big bottle. Just use, you know, be practical about it. So, so we've got a cup of wine in here. I also put in a little bit of garlic. A lot of recipes will say just rub a clove of garlic on the inside of your pan. I actually put about a half a clove in there. And what we're looking to do is we want to heat it up to the point where it is bubbling but not boiling. So you'll, as we're watching here, you'll see that it'll start to kind of,
start to steam.
It'll just have some steam and some bubbles right on the top, but we don't want to boil it. The big thing about fondue is you don't want to overheat it. You don't want to break apart the chemical composition of the cheese to where it's just like, you know, that globby, gross mess. So patience is key here. You know, we're just looking to slowly melt it. I'm going to have you, basically what we're doing is a mix of Swiss cheese and Gruyere. I've already grated the Swiss, but I'm going to have you start grating.
Oh yes, I can definitely.
I was going to say, how do you pick the cheese? Because I know that's a big thing too.
Yeah, that can be a hard choice.
Usually in the wine and cheese fondues, you're going to pick your stuff in the Swiss family. So these are both a Swiss type cheese. You could go a little milder. This one is actually pretty strong.
It smells good too.
But we brought some apples and we brought some bread, so those are perfect accompaniments. And
don't grate your finger.
Yeah,
I am so scared of graters.
You can probably tell I don't do this much.
I had an incident with the what's the other?
Is this way easier?
However you want to hold it.
Let's try this one.
Look at that, and that'll look good.
We'll do both. The close-up looks absolutely wonderful.
You're doing awesome.
Yes, and your beautiful ring in there.
Oh, thank you guys. My hand modeling.
You can learn how to cook for this for your future husband.
Yes.
I see. This is at the point when I just move on to the next.
Yeah, and that's fine too. And we're not looking for perfection here.
Yes.
Well, why not?
Good.
That one's got a really great nutty flavor to it, almost a little pungency to it.
Okay.
You could make it a little milder if you wanted, but yeah, we're looking.
I like that cheese a lot.
Basically, the recipe, and you can make this for bigger crowds too. You're still going to want to melt it slowly. It looks like we're coming up to temp here, so we'll probably start adding our cheese here soon.
Yep, they're starting to kind of get a little bit.
But we do not want to boil it, and that's why I said it's not so kid-friendly because we're probably not going to boil off all the alcohol like you would in some of the other recipes.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep going on the next step here so that we can start melting. But we're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch to our cheese shreds.
It's starting.
It's bubbling.
We're going to turn it down a little here.
Yes.
So I'm going to sprinkle this cornstarch over the top. This is also going to further stabilize the cheese so that we're not going to have issues with it.
One's good.
And it goes on the cheese, not in the...
Yeah, we're going to toss it with the cheese.
Oh, cool.
Ooh.
So, and then, Christy, I'm going to let you step in there and kind of toss that together while she's still grating.
Sorry.
Here I come.
We're just looking to coat them lightly.
Okay.
And then we're going to add roughly a half a cup to a cup of cheese at a time and start melting it. So if you want to just take a good handful.
Just guesstimate.
Yeah, guesstimate, because we don't want to dump it all in there at once and bring that temperature right back down. We're looking to melt it nice and slowly. Yep, and go ahead and stir.
That cooking wine smells really good.
And the garlic
it's starting to melt too. You can see
and so if you want to add more, we're just going to keep adding until it's nicely melted.
Oh, it smells so good. It's getting there.
Yeah, it's starting
And you
to
could do
look
this on a
yummy.
stovetop. You could also do it in a fondue maker. The key is you're
Okay.
trying to keep it below 100, or not below 150 degrees, right around the 150 degree mark.
Mix that with
Boiling's 212, so we definitely don't want it super hot. You know how when you get leftovers from the Italian restaurant, it has a cheese sauce on it, and you go and you microwave it later and it all like separates and it's gross and all that? That's what we're trying to avoid. We want to make this nice and smooth and delicious. And
There's no like wrong amount of cheese, is there?
well, like I said, it's about a cup of wine to 8 ounces of each type of cheese, because you're usually going to want to do a cheese blend to get more complexity in your flavor. So
That's
we
looking
have about a
good.
pound of
Yeah, that
cheese.
is.
We have a pound of cheese to a cup of wine.
So all
Yeah.
this cheese needs to
Oh
go
yeah,
in?
all that
that.
cheese is
Oh,
still going in.
Oh,
And let's remind people, what kind of cheeses are all mixed in here again?
That's just Swiss and Gruyere, but
Okay.
there's other cheeses you could use and you can experiment.
Change it up a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't do cheddar. Obviously, cheddar's not a good melting
Yeah.
cheese, but
unless you like it chunky.
yeah. It gives great
That looks
flavor,
yummy.
but it's just not the.
So anything that pairs best with this, I know you brought apples and you brought bread. Anything else that you could kind of throw in your tray?
Yeah, you could also do blanched vegetables. If you wanted to get some more colors in there, you could definitely
add a little
quickly
to it.
blanch your vegetables
it.
and then dip it.
you go.
And then if you do find that this is too thick, we might have heated a little of that wine off of there a little quickly when it started to boil accidentally. But you can add more warm wine to it.
Hand me a bread. Oh, I just better.
She's going to
taste
try it before
I
it's
just
even
might as
done.
well.
test
You know,
it
that's
out.
my theory is
Yeah,
when you're
right.
cooking, you might as well just kind of taste test it while you're at it. So
Yeah, and of course you can do fondues that are chocolate, and you
wanna
can have
try
oil where you cook your
How's it
meats, and
taste?
so you could put on a whole fondue
Ooh.
feast.
And let's tell people you have a class coming up at Square One Kitchen.
I do, yeah. Next month in January, we're doing a soup, stews, and fondues class, and we'll talk even more about cooking with alcohol and how to just jazz up your recipes.
I'm loving this. Yum, yum, yum. Thank you, Shannon.
You're very
Don't
welcome.
forget to go to
Thank you.
Square One Kitchen's website if you want to sign up for her class. And
Yep. Otherwise, we're on social media, and you can email
Find
us
her
from
there.
there.
We're like
From our
crossing
website.
arms
we got it.
and all this cheese.
And I did
okay.
give them a challenge. They need to finish all of this before their next segment.
We'll
so.
work on that. We'll work on that after this break. Thank you, Shannon.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.